Hello everyone, welcome back to the Vintage Warlock channel. I hope you are all safe and well. And today we're going to be having a look at a Timex, but not a dressy Timex like the ones I've recently been reviewing. We're going to be having a look at their field range, and we're going to be having a look at a chronograph in their field range, the Timex Expedition. So having a look on eBay, you will see so many different versions of the Timex Expedition. You've got field watches, you've got dive style watches, you've got digital watches, you've also got solar powered quartz as well. There are so many different ones. The one that really caught my eye and I thought was really interesting was the PVD black chronograph, the 43mm. There is a 42mm and it's sort of a gunmetal grey sort of case with a green face, and I thought that was really interesting as well. But what really sort of attracted me to the Timex Expedition, the 43mm, is the markers, the markers that are more of a minute markers instead of hours. This watch is a couple of firsts for me in the collection. First of all, it's my first PVD black watch, so not a Casio resin black band, but a watch that is properly PVD black. It is also my first Timex with the Indiglo function as well, so I've been messing around with that a lot over the last couple of weeks. Now the watch itself comes on a few different straps, so you've got some leather straps and you've also got a green sort of canvas strap, and you've got a grey sort of canvas strap as well. If I had my time again, I'd probably go for the green canvas strap because it looks really hardy and it's probably going to last much longer than the leather strap. That's not to say that the leather strap is bad. The leather strap is actually pretty good and it fits nicely on wrist and it feels really good, but I just don't think it will last a long time. So in the UK, this watch retails from between £66 to £79, and that really depends on the type of strap that you get with it, because the watch itself is exactly the same. It's just the straps that sort of change. So I'm guessing the more expensive ones that I can see on here tend to have the nylon strap or the canvas straps, and there is one with a leather strap which seems to be the most expensive, but it's a darker leather and it might have a slightly different construction. I went for the one with the almost cowhide style tanned leather bracelet, leather strap, sorry, which I think is pretty good. So let's whip through the specifications before we go into the main part of the review. So this is the Timex model number TW4B12300, also known as the Timex Expedition 43mm. It's covered by a mineral crystal across the top. The case itself is PVD black, as I mentioned before. It is a brass case with a stainless steel cover on the back. It's 43mm in diameter, it's 13mm thick, and the strap width is a fantastic 20mm, which means that this watch will go on a lot of different military style straps. On the watch itself, you've got the indication, as I mentioned to you before, of a minute timer around the outside where the hours would usually be. You've got the tachymeter at the top. It is a proper chronograph, so it has a start-stop function. The big second hand works in conjunction with the rest of the chronograph, and the sub-dial at the 6 o'clock is actually your seconds hand. At the 4 o'clock, you've got a you've got a date complication, which I think is pretty good. I know that some people don't like that there because it sort of feels out of whack, but I think they've done a very good job with it on here. Now there is actually a little bit of loom on this watch as well, and it's the hour and the minute hand actually have the tiniest bit of loom. It's not fantastic, it's not great, but you have got that in addition to the Indiglo function at the back. All in all, this watch weighs around 75 grams. Of course, it's a quartz movement, and it also has 100 meters of water resistance as well. The reason why I went for this one with 100 meters of water resistance is because there's a lot of other expeditions out there, but all of the chronographs in this range seem to have 100 meters of water resistance, whereas the other field watches and the other diver style watches that might have solar quartz movements, funnily enough, all seem to have 50 meters of water resistance and not 100. So this watch feels a little more versatile than some of the other watches in the range. So looking at this watch, the first thing that you notice is how clear and legible it is, and that's obviously because this is meant to be a field style watch, or a watch that you can use in the field, and so being that, it has to be incredibly clear and incredibly legible. First of all, you've got that minute track all the way through the outer of it. There's no hour markings at all. You can tell the time on it because it's got an hour and a minute hand, but really this is meant to track how many minutes you've been doing something in particular. You've also got the subdial at the bottom, which is, clear and legible. You've got a tint of red on that second hand, which sort of ticks through so you can measure that. And then the two subdials at the top, on the left-hand side, as I'm looking at it, you've got the 30-minute timer for the chronograph. And to the right, you've actually got a tenth of a second as well. Now, when you activate the chronograph, the second hand goes, which is the top. It starts a tachymeter and it starts going, and that leads into the minute hand, which is the subdial on the left hand side. However, when you stop the chronograph, the tenth of a second then suddenly jumps into action. It will point at the tenth of the second that were currently using, and I think that's done for two pretty obvious reasons. The first one is, if you had a tenth of a second second hand just spinning around in the corner, it would be quite distracting from whatever else you're trying to do. This is a very utilitarian watch and it's meant to do a purpose, but also it's going to save the battery on this watch as well, because the more it's going to spin around the heart, the more energy it's going to take up. And with functions such as the Indiglow, which is a function which will drain the battery out of your watch, your battery wouldn't last that long. So having the tenth of a second one non-functional until you press the stop button, I think is a really good move. So similarly, the back of the watch is again very simple, very utilitarian. You've got the Expedition logo in the middle, you've got Timex, the website address on it, and also the 100 meters of water resistance, followed by the battery and a serial number behind that as well. So again, it's made very simply. It's not got anything else that you want to have messing up the dial, and it's there to do a very good and very specific job. The only thing with this watch that may be a bit of a letdown for some people is the strap. Now, I quite like the strap. It is a nice leather strap. It's quite comfortable. It sits on wrist, but I can see this strap falling apart in a matter of months of wearing it. So this will probably be one that I would probably put on a NATO strap after a while, or as I said before, if I had my time again, I would look at the canvas straps, which will probably be longer lasting. You do pay a little more, but I think it's probably going to be worth it. So the next question really is, where does this watch fit into your collection? How are you going to wear it, and how often would you wear this watch? So since buying this watch, I've actually been wearing this pretty often, and this is a perfect sort of grab and go piece for me, especially since at the moment I'm still very casually dressed. I'm not going into an office environment that often, and it's also a nice watch to have where you know that it's hardy, it's going to last a while, and you can sort of bash it around, especially if you've got kids as well who tend to ruin everything. You can wear this watch and feel confident that it will take the beating, and if it doesn't take the beating or something happens to it, then it's less than £100 down the drain. It's not something that you're going to cry over at the end of the day. People would also sort of say, well, the mineral crystal might be a bit of a letdown on this. I don't think so. I think that mineral crystal, although it has its downsides, I think it makes it harder to shatter. But also with the Timex line and with the amount that you're paying with this, I really wouldn't expect anything more. Potentially, it may be acrylic crystal that they could have offered instead. I'm actually more of a fan of acrylic crystal than I am of mineral, just because you can polish it out. But I think it's 6 of one and half dozen of the other, especially with all of the other benefits that you're getting with this watch as well. So my verdict on this watch really simply is, if you've got under £100 to spend, you're looking for a versatile watch that you can wear that will take a bit of a beating, that's a little bit different from the divers that you can potentially get for this price, then I would really point you towards the Timex. I think it's versatile. I think it's a really hardy watch to have on your wrist, and I also think as well that it offers something a little different too, something that will stand out a little more, especially the black PVD version, and the fact that it's a chronograph and not a sort of divers or diver style watch that you can get at the price. Also with Timex you get a fantastic warranty as well. It's a 2-year warranty as standard, but I think you can upgrade that as well. So for me, I think it's a great watch to have, and I would definitely include it in someone's collection, or say that something that's definitely worth considering if you're looking for a weekend watch, or something that is, you know, versatile, can be worn on many sort of casual occasions, and you're looking to spend under £100. There's one downside to this watch, and it's one thing that I've only noticed in the last couple of days, but if you have a look at the dial of this watch, and you've probably seen it in a couple of images and pictures that I've taken so far, the minute hand is slightly misaligned at the beginning. Now I think that's actually purposefully done by Timex, because every time the next minute comes across, it's edging towards the end of that minute, so it's sort of tentatively moving, as if you would have it like an automatic watch where it's constantly moving. I don't mind it so much, but for some people it would be an absolute pain to see that every day and not be able to fix it. I think it's down to personal preference at the end of the day. I've noticed it, but I can live with it. It's whether you'd be able to as well. So the Timex Expedition range, what do you guys think of it? Do you have any of the watches in your collection? Do you prefer the 43mm or the 42mm, or do you like some of the field watches that they have, or some of the non-divers diver style quartz pieces that they have as well? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please follow me on Instagram, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel. I'll see you in the future for another video.